South Africa has inherited an economy which is really mineral energy complex. So we export our raw materials and we had cheap energy for a long period of time. Therefore, South Africa decided to invest in research and development even harder after 1994 because we wanted to diversify the economy.
An area that we're driving a lot more strategically at the DST is the area of waste. About 2 years back, we finalized what we call a waste research, development and innovation roadmap, first of its kind in South Africa, because prior to that, we didn't have a good sense even of the untapped potential in the sector. And research that we had done together with the CSR highlighted that there's huge untapped potential in our waste streams. And although we have the CSR and we have our institutions where we can absorb truly the place where we're going to absorb much larger numbers of young people who have research backgrounds and research degrees in industry. So we need industry to come on board.
I would like to really look at biomass as some form of gold, where you basically, literally in the past may have been throwing away what you couldn't use without knowing that actually there is value that can be extracted further out of this product. Now, when we look at how the bioeconomy strategy is going to be implemented in terms of the biorefineries, the platform that we're establishing is looking at two concepts. The one is where you got decentralized facilities like the one that we have in this facility, but the other one is to look at how can you actually have decentralized facilities. That's where you begin to reach out to those small players who you want to establish facilities for them not to be driving long distances to transport their biomass, but actually to have it at their doorstep.
I do believe it is needed in South Africa, and from a DST perspective, again, it's something we would like to pursue from three angles. The one is from an innovation partnerships angle, from a bioeconomy angle, and from a waste angle. So we're bringing together different strategies in the department, and we're using the Biorefinery Centre as a vehicle to bring socio-economic development.
The role of the CSIR in supporting industry takes multiple forms, but ultimately what we are trying to achieve is to ensure that South African industry is competitive and that we use innovation to create new industries which will contribute to economic growth.
A biorefinery is a facility that's used to obtain high-value materials, especially from waste biomass. So, for example, if you take down a tree and use it to make pulp and paper, you'll find that the majority of the wood is lost as waste in producing product. So we are saying this is not acceptable, because if you look at that waste material, you'll find that there is value that can be extracted from that. So by using biorefinery technologies now, we're able to extract valuable materials from that waste material.
I think some of the challenges being experienced in the sawmilling industry is mainly based on pine. It's also, because it's based on pine, it works on a pine saw log regime, which means pulp logs tend to be a byproduct produced by producing saw logs. So if we could add value to the byproducts, it would really add value to the industry as well.
The other big challenge is the capital-intensive nature of the sector. So as an example, you have a mill dissolving pulp. To build that mill from scratch today and just at half its capacity, so let's say 500 million tons, would cost you 16 billion rand. And then, of course, what we produce traditionally, pulp and paper, is a commodity. And because it's a commodity by its nature, has to be of the lowest cost to remain competitive.
So we're planting sweet sorghum as compared to sugarcane. Sugarcane is mostly used in the country, but we felt sweet sorghum would be a better crop because it's a hardier crop. It doesn't need much irrigation and it doesn't need that much inputs. So when we plant that sweet sorghum together with the communities, they will then find jobs in so doing.
we received funding now from the DST to set up this biorefinery industry development facility. So the idea is we will develop technologies that can be used by industry. Indeed, biorefinery technologies is being used overseas, and people may wonder, say, why don't you take these technologies and apply them and use them here? But the thing is, it's not necessarily as simple as that. You need to take those technologies, but you need to be able to adapt it to the local conditions. So this is where our facility here comes in now. We're able to do that kind of thing. In addition to we develop these technologies, we have a pilot scale facilities that enable us now to develop these products at an industrial scale, to demonstrate it at any industrial scale.
So if one looks at the forestry, timber, pulp and paper industry, we are specifically looking at ways to try to beneficiate some of the waste streams that are produced by this industry, and some of these waste streams include the sawdust from sawmills, the sludge from the pulp and paper mills, the bark from the tree itself, and even to the extent where we are looking at the lignin that's remaining after the wood has been pulped. Now, all of these waste streams have a huge impact on the industry in terms of its management and its disposal. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to find ways to beneficiate it into valuable products that we can add value to the industry instead of disposal via landfilling, for example. In terms of what we're doing at the moment, if you look at the sawdust waste, we are looking at producing products such as xylitol and pine oil. These products are not produced in South Africa, and these products are actually imported into the country at great cost.
With the support and skill development that we are being offered here, I feel like we have a better chance to go out there confidently and go as potential employers and not employees. So from BIDF, we can go out as graduates and create jobs in a greener manner.
My project is electrospinning. I'm going to extract keratin from waste chicken feathers and produce nanofibers. But it is regenerating keratin fiber via electrospinning.
So we have this facility now. We want to invite all our stakeholders from the public sector and the private sector to come and work with us in terms of taking advantage of this unique national asset that we now have, which we think can make a significant contribution in terms of turning the biorefinery sector in South Africa around.